came out of Freemasonry, by the way. The official monthly magazine of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which isn't Scottish, by the way, its name was, of the magazine was called The New Age. And they said in the magazine that they were going to be responsible for bringing in the New Age, you see. Now, New Age has within it the perennial religions, which they bring out at this time when they're taking culture down. The perennial religions being all vague kinds of spirituality, gurus galore, mystic meanings that you'll have to find out if you want to get to a higher heaven, vibrating at higher frequencies, color-coded frequencies, and to vibrate out of this world, yada, yada, yada. The oneness of us all, you see, the world's soul, blah, 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 all the fairy stuff that works awfully well because, you see, you can always take people out of their religion. You see, but you can't take the religion out of the people. When you take something away, they will try and fill it with something else in order to get meaning from life. And the more pressures and chaos you put on people, the more terrified you make them, the more desperate they are to find a meaning of life. Because, you see, they can't deal with all the masses of problems. Oh, we're going to have a financial collapse. Yeah, we get this all the time because we're kept terrified of wars, or the threat of wars, or financial collapse, and all the rest of it by those who own the system. That's how they keep you under control. Which makes it kind of weird, because why would you want to keep the same system going that's never worked for you? And you think you can vote and change it. Oh, gee. Well, anyway, that was the vampire obsessed trucker, right? And then you had the Heaven's Gate. Remember in the 90s, you had the Heaven's Gate cult, so-called a religious group. And in the 90s, they followed this guru who brought in UFO religions, millennialism. They brought in all the New Age thing, the oneness, and plus evolution too. So your body and soul were going to evolve to the next ET kind of thing. And people flocked to this character, who was a nutcase fanatic, but he had deeper problems than just that. He was also homosexual, it seems, and this is how a lot of them, including himself, were castrated, actually, in his cult. And what these guys will do, the techniques are very simple, but always the same, whether it's a Jim Jones or anything else. You can start going into what you think is occult teachings. And it's very popular, this kind of thing, especially, as I say, when people have lost their basic religions, their guidelines, and they're desperate for meaning in life. Because they feel helpless and they can't fight all the problems of the world, which they're bombarded with all the time. And so they join the cults, hoping to find, if I can just find the secrets of what this means and that means, then I'll be godlike. I'll be free from worry. I'll be free from threats of any kind, because I'll be like a Superman or a godlike, you see. And so out come the gurus. A lot of them are supplied to you by the CIA, because you'll find the same CIA research going on within all these cults before they end up killing themselves. That's always there. And because, you see, you can use that on a bigger scale in the general population, and this is what's coming about today. That's why you got so many talk shows out there now pretending to know secrets. Now, I enjoy deciphering old Masonic codes. And now, getting back to what I was talking about the New Age and so on, be very, very careful before you give your brain away to any conman. I mean, there's even late-night talk shows that do nothing but talk about this stuff, knowing they're conning the people, and knowing that it could cause harm to different ones too. But again, obviously, it's not our problem. It's amazing how you can always justify it when your paycheck is pretty fat, and it's not your problem, isn't it? But there you go. Some guy comes along and says, I've got the answer, or he comes out with stars all over his suit or something, and tells you about his experiences, or he's another guru of some kind, or even a famous person like the reincarnation of Jesus or Gandhi or whoever it happens to be. If you fall for that, folks, something's really seriously wrong in your life. in your mind. And they tell you, oh yeah, you're way up to violet, get the violet colors going. You vibrate higher in the violet colors, you know. And you can vibrate right out of this world into a high astral plane. Safe. See, it's a promise of safety in a fearful world. Always happens at the end of an age. This age was planned to end by those in control. And they bring in their new system, and you're even better slaves than you were before. That's what it's all about. But don't just follow people blindly because they give out tantalizing little bits of information. As I say, if you just buy a pile of old Rosicrucian books, you'll see it's all in there. Just rehashing the same. They don't have to make up new stuff. Just rehash it all. Generations of stuff. Going way back. Always promising you the next lure. You see? Some of them even give you classes on chronology. That's what I call it, chronology. That's the art of conning people. And they give them classes on it. And they promise them, if you just get to the next step, you'll be higher and higher in your understanding. And when you're at a stage where you understand it all, you have these super godlike powers. But they can never take you there, you see, unless you tell the whole cult to commit suicide. Or they might just say they've got enough in their bank account now and pack it in. But there's no end of people who've had, since the 1960s especially, this alternate, they call it perennial religion. They always pull out the hat at times of the end of an age. The same perennial, the reincarnation thing, the whole idea of hidden masters. And often the guys who present themselves as masters, he has to be a hidden master who's now out in the open, right? Otherwise, how would he know this stuff? What man can decipher, man will put together in the first place. And I very much doubt he was vibrating above the kitchen table when he was doing it. And it's so easy to tell people, and we like telling people about our odd experiences. We all have them. Odd experiences. But there's never any answer or meaning that we're left with. Once in a blue moon there might be something, but it generally doesn't repeat itself over and over. When they tell you they do have all the answers, you're dealing with someone that P.T. Barnum would advocate, like a student of his, when he says a sucker born every minute. Ancient techniques. But it's very lucrative for those who want to exploit people. I generally put the information out for free. That's all. Here's what it means. This is how they communicate to each other. Here's a degreed system, just like a military system from private all the way up to general. Same idea. And lots of people think they're superior. Lots of them do. The ones who really are superior are only superior because they understand the art of keeping the masses in a different reality from themselves. And picking their sons and daughters' wives for them. A standard down through the ages with the wealthy elite. They tell you to marry for love. They marry wealth and their offspring. That's why they live through their offspring. Their progeny. Be careful. Don't give your brain away. And when they tell you they can always have the same experience, this high spiritual experience, tell them to prove it. They can't prove it to you. Everything has to be taken on belief, your gullibility. You see? They can't. You can't fool animals the same way, the higher mammals like chimps and things. You can't do it with them. Because they don't understand language as you know it. That the art of conning human beings is done through persuasion, where you start with a common agreed idea, and then someone with a good vocabulary and an intellect can warp it off into La La Land and have you follow it and agreeing all the way, nodding your head. That's the dialectic process. like a salesman uses. They start off as a nice day, you nod your head. Nice house you've got here, you nod your head. You're saying yes, 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 you see. And then along the sales pitch, this is a nice vacuum, yes. It's all psychology, folks. Read Plato, read all the other philosophers, same thing. They start off with a premise which you can all say, yeah, we stand on the ground, don't we? Yeah, oh yeah, we all stand on the ground. Before you know it, this guy's telling you can vibrate higher and higher. If you just pay him the money, he'll give you the secrets. And there's techniques to make you believe it. The perennial religion. As though understanding is going to cause something to happen. Amazing, isn't it? So be very, very careful. And watch out for the cults. And if you've got children and they're just obsessed with their technologies, they can't talk to anybody in the face-to-face anymore. And they're maybe talking to all kinds of weirdos because they don't know who is on the other end of that phone. And they're texting to. And all the sock puppets put up by government agencies and foundations and experiments run on them even by the universities like MIT. They don't even know what's happening. But it's all carefully monitored to see who's working. This is the big laboratory as we live day by day. There's another experiment going on. There's many experiments going on to find out what will work on the mass of the people, the bulk of the population. Be careful. Now I've got to get back to trying fixing this water pump here. If it's possible to do, which I'm not really sure it is until the summer. As I say, I've never seen so much snow as we've had this year in Canada. And the temperature is still plummeting at night, way below zero. And during the day too. Still isn't getting above the freezing mark. And stacks of snow to go. It's going to be murder trying to move once that snow starts to melt and freeze day by day. Whenever that starts, and it floods into the road and freezes, and you can't, it's like a skating rink, of course. There will be flooding this year too, as they play up the chaos, you see, this caused. By the way, I meant to mention, there's articles out there from a few years ago, I've read them before, where it was found out that agreements had been reached through all the different states in the US and parts of Canada to hold back the sluice gates rather than release a little water at a time from big dams and things for runoff and let it all go at once. Why didn't you get all the flooding here and there over the last few years? That was the reason, folks. What you don't know can con you. And what you don't know can make you suffer too. But anyway, from Hamish myself from Ontario, Canada, it's good night to me. Your God or your gods go with you.